Pro Tour-Amsterdam was down to one final match, and it would be an all-American duel. From California, playing White Weenie, was Paul Rietzl in his second Pro Tour Top 8. Across the table from him was North Dakotan star Brad Nelson, who is in an astonishing 6th Top 8 of a major event in a row. Both are truly at the top of the Pro Tour game, and both were hoping to finally break through for a Pro Tour championship on Sunday. In Game 1, though Brad Nelson had earned the right to go first as a result of finishing higher in the Swiss standings than his opponent Paul, the bearded phenom was punished with a cruel double mulligan to start the first game. He opened on Treefolk Harbinger, one of the trademark cards in his deck of the weekend, and then cast Tarmogoyf a turn later. Paul Rietzl's White Weenie deck, engineered by none other than Gabriel Nassif and also played into the top 8 by the legendary Kai Buddha, wasted no time coming out of the gates as Paul cast a Figure of Destiny, followed by Student of Warfare. Nelson cast a Duress, seeing a hand of double Mana Tithe, Figure of Destiny, Honor of the Pure, and a land. The enchantment went to the graveyard. Figure of Destiny became a 2/2, and when Paul played his third land, he was able to threaten it, becoming a 4/4. Surprisingly complicated, the California White Weenie player said, trying to figure out the correct attack for his turn. He sent his figure sideways, and Brad said, "I'll make the decision easy for you," moving his Treefolk Harbinger to block. That led to a pump from Paul to level up the figure to 4 power, killing the 0/3. Stuck on 2 lands, Nelson's Doran deck struggled to keep up. He attacked with his Tarmogoyf, and prior to combat used Nameless Inversion to remove his opponent's Student of Warfare as a blocker. The Tribal Instant was a big pump for the graveyard, boosting the Tarmogoyf twice, and Brad managed to drop Paul to 9 life. Rietzl attacked back to make it 13-9 in his opponent's favor, then cast Knight of the White Orchid and a second Figure of Destiny. The Tarmogoyf cracked back into the red zone, and Rietzl fell to 3, uninterested in chumping. He untapped and cast a pre-combat Knight of the White Orchid, fetching up a free plains, then attacked Brad for 6. Nelson was dead in another combat step, so he needed some help from his deck. Of course, the fact his Tarmogoyf was lethal for Paul meant that when Brad turned the green rare sideways, Rietzl was forced to block, trading his second Knight of the White Orchid to Fog for a turn. After combat, Nelson cast a Putrid Leech, paying for a single Mana Tithe, then passed despite being dead on board to his opponent's board position. Rietzl drew and did some combat math, trying to figure out what his opponent's outs might be. He sent his team sideways, but rather than pump his second Figure of Destiny from 2/2 to a 4/4, he opted to simply deal 4 damage total. That took Brad to 1. And Paul had cast 2 creatures post-combat to make sure he could block the impending lethal Tarmogoyf attack backed by a possible Maelstrom Pulse. Nelson peeled his top card back from his deck, revealed Reflecting Pool, and conceded out of options for continuing. Rietzl is up 1 game, and Nelson is at 0.